What up, DC gang? It's your boy DreadHawk, and we back in class, y'all. What time it is? I hope y'all got y'all notepads ready. Take some notes, cause we back with another hood nature.
Right, you know he could be teaching us a lot of stuff.
All the time, and in the comments we learn from y'all too. And I like how everybody be interacting in the comments.
Yeah.
Putting each other over game. But this right here is what happened to the murder hornets, and why cows eat snakes.
Why cows eat snakes?
I'm ready, y'all. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Put on the post notifications. Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram as well. Ready to check this out?
Let's check it out. I'm ready.
Let's go. Class in session.
Class in session.
Do you ever wonder what happened to those murder hornets? 2020 was like a terrible final season. At one point, there was a giant murder hornet storyline that everyone just forgot about. These were highly venomous Asian giant hornets which erase about 30 to 50 names in Japan a year. In 2013 alone, they turned 42 people in the past tense in one Chinese province. And apparently they illegally entered the United States, with the first sightings happening in Blaine, Washington towards the end of 2019. Which is kind of a problem because one hornet nearly unsubscribed Cody Peterson from life. So imagine getting jumped by an entire nest. Not only—
yeah, that's the man right there. We be getting bit and stung by everything. We getting the bites when we saw it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what did happen to them things though?
What did happen, because nobody's talking about it no more. Everything is focused on one situation. Yeah, it's like died out.
Illegally entered the United States, with the first sightings happening in Blaine, Washington towards the end of 2019. Which is kind of a problem because one hornet nearly unsubscribed Cody Peterson from life. So imagine getting jumped by an entire nest. Not only that, but these murder hornets will slaughter entire beehives. So what happened? Well, the Department of Agriculture made it clear that we couldn't give them a chance to establish in America. Basically, the government said it was on site. Hornet nests that were found were quickly put out of commission for the sake of our way of life. One nest had allegedly 200 queen hornets before they were all put in a pack. So yeah, we went to war against hornets, but the thing is, it might not be over. On June 4th, a dead dry hornet was found near Washington State. Now, scientists believe it was an old hornet from last year. But these hornets typically emerge from hibernation in July, and all the homicidal hood flies that we didn't kill off could be returning for a season 2. But two things.
The homicidal
hood flies.
that we didn't kill off.
That we didn't get. That was funny.
Bro, but what if that is a sign though?
Right.
If that one is still alive,
Then maybe
probably some more too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch out now.
That make it don't even go outside.
Go outside, they around.
You think that's a regular old bee?
I think we don't clap and see to the afterlife.
Right. You be like, dang.
Hibernation in July, and all the homicidal hood flies that we didn't kill off could be returning for a season 2. But two things. One, this murder hornet is actually rarely ever lethal to people, and two, wildlife experts believe it would be impossible for them to become a permanent resident invasive species in America. Basically, Asian hornets are like TikTok trends of performative activism. A big deal in the moment, but they're overblown and they don't last that long. That being said, they typically reemerge from hibernation in July, so if they are planning to run it back, it's going to be tough for the camps. This episode of Australia is a simulation. This cow was caught eating something suspicious. When the worker took a closer look, he realized the cow was slurping a whole ass snake like it was a strand of mock spaghetti. This wasn't some F-tier garden snake. It was a sand python that got turned into a cow's chew toy. Now, to be fair, cows have always been off. Technically, they're herbivores, but cows have been known to chew on the carcasses of other dead animals. In Australia, that often means dead kangaroos. They'll sometimes even suck on the bones of other cows, but the snake, that was new. Farmers believe they do this because low levels of phosphorus in the soil means less phosphorus for the cows. Not enough phosphorus can cause weaker bones, and for cows, it can lead to botulism, which is bad. Phosphorus deficiency can also lead to osteophagia, where an animal like a cow chews or eats the bone of another dead animal. And you thought they were innocent. Nah, they ain't safe either. This cow is low on vitamin P, but instead of taking a supplement, he said it and decided to take a python instead. That sentence makes no sense anywhere else in the world but Australia. Moral of this video, Australia has no food chain. It's a fucking free-for-all.
We finally have to talk about it. Koalas are just...
So my thing is though, he said the cow killed it or was already dead?
What, a snake?
Yeah.
I think he killed it. I don't know.
What the hell?
Let us know in the
dumb.
comment section.
Like, they're literally their own biggest obstacle.
I just want to add to the koala slander real quick because there's one special thing about them that not nearly enough people know. And you know me, I don't really need a reason to put them on blast. So y'all know eucalyptus, right? Now I'm going to ignore the fact that their entire personality is eating something that nature made abundantly clear is not supposed to be eaten. It's poisonous, hard to chew, and has zero energy, but of course a koala don't koala. But that's not the problem. The problem is they literally can't even digest the one thing they insist on eating. They need special gut bacteria to break down the toxins of the eucalyptus. And of course an animal that isn't smart enough to understand rain isn't going to comprehend probiotics. So to get the bacteria and, not starve to death, the baby koala will nuzzle up to the mother in the, this position. The baby will tickle the mother until she releases a green paste called cecum fecal pap. For months, the baby will eat its mother's poop just so it can spend the rest of its life nursing itself by eating eucalyptus.
Wow.
What? Did you just say? The poop?
Yeah. So we can...
pap. For months, the baby will eat its mother's poop just so it can spend the rest of its life nourishing itself by eating eucalyptus. Koalas have been around for about 25 million years, yet the best thing they can do is eat and look cute. To be fair, lots of animals do this, but koalas eat just for something that isn't even worth eating in the first place. Snakes like the python can actually swallow things bigger than their head. A lot of people think snakes unhinge or dislocate their jaws to do this, but that's not what they do. It's actually weirder. That's because for snakes, the bones in the lower jaw called the mandibles aren't connected the same way they are with us. Instead, they're held together by a stretchy ligament. These two jaw bones work independently and can actually spread apart from each other, which you can see here.
Yeah.
I really hope Down Bad Mike don't see this. That demonic yawn is how snakes like pythons can deep throat things they honestly have no business even attempting. For reference, if you were built like a python, you'd be able to swallow a whole watermelon without chewing and without using your hands. All thanks to those two bones. Because those two jaw bones work on their own, they can slowly inch whatever they're trying to eat towards the back of their throat, basically like walking their jaw over their victim. A snake's mouthpiece is so flexible that the bigger ones like anacondas, boas, and pythons can swallow deer, goats, alligators, and even small cows. If it makes you feel any better, this is an emerald tree boa, and since they're non-venomous, they're basically harmless. Might cost you a few extra sessions of therapy, but I promise you there's worse snakes in your life. You probably dated them. Yeah, whoever designed this shrimp was on LSD. The mantis shrimp just makes no sense as a living animal. Let's talk about it. Whoever designed this shrimp was on just a few extra sessions of therapy, but I promise you there's worse snakes in your life. You probably dated them. Yeah, whoever designed this shrimp was
a shrimp.
What about the peacock mantis shrimp?
They don't look too edible.
I bet somebody don't try to eat it though.
What did they do?
What did
on LSD. The mantis shrimp just makes no sense as a living animal. Let's talk about it. This shrimp can throw a punch at 50 miles per hour. Not only can they throw hands faster than literally anything else on Earth, the acceleration of the punch is basically the same as getting hit with a 22.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, God gave them the right to bear arms and they act accordingly. Their punch is so quick that it causes a cavitation bubble to form, and when it pops, it's hotter than the surface of the f***ing sun. Built like an underwater pride symbol with the left-handed Thanos, the mantis shrimp hunts by repeatedly striking the shells of clams, snails, and crustaceans until the shell splits open. Ooh, it's that in the heat of getting pimp-slapped by Lucifer that makes it easy for the mantis shrimp to turn its prey into a prayer. And if it wasn't for the fact that they can shatter aquarium glass, they'd actually be dope pets. Not even the only crazy thing about them. Their eyesight is so advanced that they can see polarized and ultraviolet light that's invisible to us. And where we have 3 color receptors, God said, why not, and decided to give this shrimp 16. They don't see more colors than we do the way some people think, but each row of photoreceptors is designed to detect a different kind of light. Oh, and they have 360 vision, because nature really pimped out the shrimp for no reason. 10 things you didn't know about the world's grumpiest cat. It's a Pallas cat, and it's basically the snow leopard's little brother found in the same Central Asian mountain ranges like the Himalayas. They're one of the highest cats on the planet. One Pallas cat was found 18,300 feet in the mountains. That's as high as more than 14 Empire State Buildings. It's around that height where your body would start to fall over because of lack of oxygen. Pallas cats can survive being that high because just like snow leopards, or ice tigers if you know you know, they have huge lungs, a powerful heart, and massive nails.
Don't they look like regular house cats?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm sitting here looking like...
I don't even think I ever heard of those type of cats before, actually.
I can't lie.
You're right.
Cavity to pull in more air. They are massive introverts, and the only way they ever tolerate each other is when they want to make more of themselves. They're so good at surviving where they honestly have
What? So they only tolerate each other so when they want to make more, so they start mating. But they...
Other than that, leave me alone. Let me be
me alone.
To myself.
They look... yeah.
It looked like he like,
don't leave me alone.
And the only way they ever tolerate each other is when they want to make more of themselves. They're so good at surviving where they honestly have no business that when you take them out of the mountains, they actually start to struggle, which is why they're a bad idea for a pet. Also, they're closer to cougars, ocelots, and servals than they are to domestic cats, but if you try to play...
Look at them teeth!
Wait.
God.
I don't think you want one of those as a pet.
Like a pet, he will remind you. Also, you'll probably never see one in a zoo. Nature made them so good at living in the mountains that they literally can't survive anywhere else, so when you take them out, they usually get canceled by diseases that they wouldn't have to worry about up in God's attic.
He said that's why you don't ever see them in a zoo, because they can't survive off, like, say if they take them from all the money, they wouldn't be able to survive. That's crazy. Because that's right, because I never seen nothing like a cat like that in the zoo.
Never.
That's true.
So you the only way you're gonna see it unless you go to
the mountains or whatever.
Really can't survive anywhere else, so when you take them out, they usually get canceled by diseases that they wouldn't have to worry about up in God's attic. No fact here, I just think this is cute. They are Pikachu's biggest op. Their favorite food is the Pika that the shock mouse is named after. Google doesn't respect them, because if you look up ugly-eared cat, they pop up. 5 sponge facts that might change the way you look at Robert. Most sea sponges are hermaphrodites, making them both male and female at the same time. And since they don't move, they get it on by either budding or by blasting baby maker onto the ocean, hoping it finds eggs to fertilize. Since they're an easy target for turtles and some fish, most sponges are toxic and use chemical weapons to defend themselves. The Caribbean fire sponge is actually poisonous enough to cause a severe rash to anybody who tries to hold it. Since some of the most toxic chemicals chemicals and science can be found in sponges, doing this could put you straight in the ER. These sponges can be used to fight cancer. Russian researchers isolated a compound from a sponge whose name gives me anxiety and synthesized it, and the result was a substance that killed prostate cancer cells.
Oh, wow.
Starfish eat by ejecting their stomachs out their mouths, wrapping it around their prey, digesting it from the outside before retracting the now soupy remains back inside. Why am I telling you this? The starfish eat everything, including, sponges were the first animals. It is possible they're the sister group to every living animal on Earth. By that I mean a very, very, very long time ago, there was a common ancestor for every animal alive, and sponges were the first to diverge from that ancestor. If that's true, that means for everything. I'm talking about you, your dog, Harambe, that squirrel in your attic you haven't met yet. The sponge is a sister group for all of them. So basically that shirt, that tie, and that thigh gap was the blueprint for life as we know it. The more you know. That's Caplysinopsis reticulata.
Right.
The other day somebody called me a walking Pokédex, and they're not wrong. That's a European badger. There's about 5 types of badgers, and this little crackhead isn't one of them, because honey badgers aren't true badgers. That family right there has a European badger, the Asian badger, and a Japanese badger. But American badgers are all the way down there. And that's because American badgers aren't even closely related to other badgers. Because when America was fighting for independence, apparently the badger was right there in them trenches. Nah, but for real, even though they're both badgers, they're not even closely related. These guys just look like they have their life together. He works a 9 to 5, picks up his kids from soccer practice, and invites his neighbor over for scones and tea every Tuesday. This dude is a corner store methie that swings broken beer bottles at anyone that makes eye contact. But they're pretty similar. American badgers will work with coyotes to hunt, and the Europeans will squat up with foxes. They're both carnivores, but they'll eat anything that fits in their mouth. And both give 0 Because where Americans will square up with bobcats, cougars, and sometimes grizzlies, Europeans will step to wolves, lynxes, and sometimes brown bears. They also stat pad with one badger murking an entire chicken coop. Sometimes European badgers will break into beehives and eat honeycombs while actively being stung by hundreds of bees. And I was not kidding about American...
Now that's savage.
That's savage right there, for real. Because they'll break into the beehive, eating the honeycombs while the bees stinging them.
While getting stung up.
They're like, they probably like,
let me
just keep eating.
Badgers will break into beehives and eat honeycombs while actively being stung by hundreds of bees. And I was not kidding about American badgers stepping to grizzly bears. They usually get clapped, but an effort was made and I respect that. Moral of this video, badgers are wolverines with short person syndrome and I fucking love them for it. 3 animals that are way stronger than society taught you. First we have swans, because these pond pigeons are what geese think they are. Because where geese are all talk, swans can actually do damage. Not only can they allegedly break their arms with their wings, one took a man's life by drowning him. They've also murked dogs by beating them to death with those wings. You could try to humble a swan by grabbing its neck, but you're still risking your entire way of life if this hell Tweety goes for your eyes. The biggest swan is the mute swan, which can weigh over 30 pounds. They're everything geese are on steroids. This is Patrick the wombat. Wombats are keg barrels with legs. Wombat booties are reinforced with cartilage and fat, so if this furry bowling ball rear ends you, it could actually break your leg. They're so sturdy that they can put your car out of commission and sometimes even launch you off the road. Because hitting a wombat's like hitting a...
What? God damn. I wonder how big it looks in person.
I don't know.
It's like launch your
Is it
car.
at the zoo?
Right.
You know they got everything at the zoo.
Except for that cat.
Yeah.
This thing can launch your car off the road. But
Well,
damn.
my thing is too, the damn swan.
Yes.
I didn't swans. I ain't know a swan that powerful.
Powerful, right. I didn't know that either. That's crazy.
Drowning man, dog.
They're so sturdy that they can put your car out of commission and sometimes even launch you off the road. Because hitting a wombat's like hitting a curb with the face. Not to mention they defend themselves by running to their burrow and then using their backside to crush the skull of a predator against the roof of their burrow. And last we have donkeys. Eeyore ain't a bitch, he really about that. Donkeys will not only delete a coyote, but they've been known to play with their corpse like a rag doll. If you're a rancher, you're better off trading your shotgun for a donkey, because you don't have to load a donkey. Because they're black Air Force horses. There's a reason this homicidal barcode is more badass than horse. 7 deadly sins, but because I am the way I am, represented as animals. Envy's definitely the common house sparrow, because if she finds out her mate's been cheating on her, she'll proceed to butcher and abort the chicks he had with another female. Why do y'all go after everyone but the actual cheater? I don't get it. Right. Lust is definitely the anti-kindness, because he won't stop spreading his seed until his immune system shuts down, his body disintegrates, and bro just becomes past tense. Bro really experiences post-nut clarity in the afterlife. Gluttony is the Argentinian wide-mouthed frog, tense. Bro really experiences post-nut clarity in the afterlife. Gluttony is the Argentinian wide-mouthed frog because they never stop eating. The only way this kamikaze stops is if it either chokes to death or literally tears its stomach open. These frogs will die trying to swallow something physically bigger than they are. Wrath is no one else but the hippo, because every year they RSV at least 500 people to Heaven's house party in Africa alone. And let's be real, the number's probably higher, we just haven't found the body.
Look how big that is.
That sure looks scary coming at you, dog.
Something big like that charging at the... You just go ahead
and they fast.
But they're fast, so there's no outrunning it, so you just might as well just go ahead and leave.
Every time I look at one of them, I think of that thing
in the water.
Water, that big thing just coming out that.
Coming out that stuff. God damn.
Sheesh.
least 500 people to Heaven's House Party in Africa alone. And let's be real, the number's probably higher, we just haven't found the bodies yet. Right. Sloth is a sloth because that just makes sense. Pride is a peacock because being a show-off helps him bag a female, but it also helps them get bagged by a tiger. Those feathers make it harder for them to fly and impossible to see behind themselves, which is why its biggest flex often gets it buried. And greed is a Tasmanian devil because they can shove 40% of their body weight down their throat and they'll eat so much that they can't walk afterwards. 40% would be like the average man scarfing 140 burgers in 30 minutes. The more you know. Let's talk about the blobfish. This is what they actually look like. It's just that they live up to 4,000 feet below the surface at the bottom of the ocean. That's almost 3 Empire State Buildings. It's only when you drag them to the surface that they look like a deformed Kirby with a botched nose job. For those of you that try to slander my baby, this is what you'd look like if you had to live in his hood. Stay humble. If a normal fish lived that deep, its swim bladder would get forced out of its mouth and it would fold to water pressure. But the blobby has no swim bladder, no bones, and basically zero muscle, which is why they can handle more pressure than a college student with immigrant parents. I would know. Basically, by being built like gelatin, the blobfish uses water pressure as its structural support, which goes away if you bring them up to the surface. The blobfish only has one natural predator. Unfortunately, it's one of the most dangerous things alive. That's right, we are the biggest threat to a blobby's way of life since they can get caught in trawling nets and die. Now, we don't know a whole lot about them since they live in Satan's basement, but some scientists believe there's less than 500 of them left in the world. Either that or they're elite at hiding and we're just bad at seeking. Anyway, they can handle 120 times more pressure than we gotta deal with, so y'all gonna stop slandering my blobfish. You can slander him though.
That was very interesting, yo.
You learn a lot.
Class, what y'all learn, class?
Yes, let us know in the comment section what y'all learned. Cause I sure remember the mountain, that cat. It's how they are massive introverts and they don't even like to be messed with. So only time they want to be,
when they want to get it.
When they want to, meet and have more of them. And then you can't even take them out their nature because they're died.
I wonder how many did they take out of there.
Like who tried?
Yeah, they probably tried to do that zoo and probably seen most of them died.
Most of them, probably all of them died.
Yeah.
They just say that can't.
Yeah, them Hornets probably coming back.
Oh yeah, the Hornets, yeah.
Woo.
The killer bees.
Yeah, that's. Man, it's still on our toes out here, y'all. Cause we see like in the comments they say humans can't run and get away from these animals.
We can't get away from
these animals.
You can't get away from these animals.
You think smart.
You might as well just lay there and just try. I mean, our natural instinct will try to fight, but
people out here getting clapped by swans.
Swans. I didn't know that.
Swans, though.
I did not know that. I didn't know that they were that strong.
Exactly.
Like you see, even if you try to grab them by the neck, they can still pluck you in the eye.
Let's just stay away from them. Don't get too close.
Yeah, just stay away from them together, period.
Alright, that's the end of the class, y'all. That was Hood Nature. Shout out to him. Make sure you check out his channel for more content, hella content. And this right here was what happened to the murder hornets and why cows eat snakes. If you love y'all DC game, man, appreciate the support. Make sure you smash a like, drop them comments down below. And if y'all ain't know yet, I go by the name DreadHawk.
And I go by the name Cash.
We're gonna catch y'all on the next one.
Catch y'all next one.